I was gonna say I'm alone today, but I think I see Katie is no, she was on here for a second, then she went away. Katie's gone. Katie is on her way to Ireland, and so she will not be attending this call. She probably literally just got plane probably just took off. So it is just me today. How fun! How exciting! So exciting. Um, but yeah, we're gonna be sharing what happened in Mesa last week. What happened in Mesa, and actually what happened in Mesa the last month. And so, yeah, it's felt like a lot. It's felt like a lot of pain. It's felt like a lot of problems. And then I just looked at the P&L this weekend, and I was like, okay, I guess this is what the price you pay for pain is you get a little bit of profit. Um, and so, yeah, I'll go through that a little bit today too, because I think that it's important to just be able to separate the difference between what it feels like for how the business is actually doing, and you know, being somebody who's fortunate enough to be on quite a few vision meetings every single week where we go over data. Usually, the emotion of the person who's running the company comes into it first, and so it's like this is everything's falling apart, everything's crazy. I can't believe this is happening, and like we're seeing and we're forecasting all the problems with the business, and we're feeling the fires that are happening in the business. And then the moment that I get into the data, I'm like, this business looks pretty good. Like it's doing pretty good. We have leads coming in, we're converting the leads, we have cleaners who are applying for the job, we're interviewing them, we're hiring them. Like this is a good business. And so I think it's why it's ultimately the ultimate goal in this business is to get yourself in a situation where you're coaching the people who are operating the business. Because there needs to be somebody who's sane, somebody who is not wrapped up into the stories of the clients and the stories of the cleaners and the stories that everyone will tell you. Because you know what? All those stories, albeit while they may be true, they're not always helpful. And so when you have somebody who's removed from the stories and we can just look at the data, then we've made decisions that will continue with business forward regardless of how we feel, because the feelings, they go. And ultimately, we want to make a decision based on where we're going, not on a feeling that we felt a couple days ago, or even a feeling we're feeling in the very moment. And so that is really the value of having data. And um, on Friday, there was a podcast that was released by a friend of mine named Cody Barton. And so Cody Barton actually lives right here in Mesa, Arizona. He's literally like 2 seconds from me. And I met him through Pace. Him and Pace Morby were partners for many years in their wholesale business, and then they ended up buying rentals together, and they ended up doing lots of businesses together. And so while everyone knows who Pace Morby is, if you don't know who Pace Morby is, you can just Google the guy. Um, um, Everyone knows who Pace is, but not very many people knew who Cody was outside of just what Pace would talk about him. But Cody is super like very intelligent, very good at creating systems, very good at understanding data, and very good at being able to solve problems that are not sexy and don't get lots of YouTube views and likes and things like that. But very intelligent person, like built built businesses to doing over $1 million a month, like a couple $1 million a month actually. Like very smart person. And so I've been very lucky to be able to hang out with him, and then we did a podcast together on Friday. And so, yeah, Janissa, I saw you comment on it. It was awesome. I thank you for doing that. So if you guys haven't gone to listen to that podcast, James will drop the link for the podcast. But yeah, one of the things we talked a lot about in there was data, and it's just like it's a language that we can all speak together. And so like while Marie's business is in Pennsylvania and Alaya is currently in Bozeman, and then Janissa is in Canada, um, and Anna Harris is in Minnesota, like we can all speak the same language when it comes to our data. We can all talk about like I can look at all those businesses and I can see, well, how much money did you spend on marketing? How much how many people did you out of those leads that you got, how many of them did you convert into new sales? How much money did you spend on cleaners? How many of those applicants did you do phone interviews for and Zoom interviews for? And how many did you hire? Um, and so that's like the language that we can all speak regardless of where we live at. And so when we have an understanding of of the math of the business, it allows us to make decisions that don't otherwise feel like we should be making that decision. And so if you guys are inside the paid group, inside the paid school group, I talked about how in the month of April and March and February, we've lost over 30 cleaners, like legit over 30 cleaners. Um, and everything's going backwards and our revenues are going down. We lost an office manager as well. And the feeling that I got was to stop. Was like, we're doing something wrong. We should retreat. And yeah, those are the feelings. Um, However, I didn't listen to the feelings because I've also been in business for almost 11 years now. And I recognize that um, feelings aren't what I base my decisions on anymore. Sometimes they're good indicators, sometimes they're good leading indicators. However, it's not what I base the entirety of the decision on anymore. And when I looked at the reality of the situation is that we needed more cleaners, which means we needed to spend more money on marketing, which means we needed to do more interviews. We needed to hire more people. And that required more money and more effort. All the time while we were going backwards. And the result, up to this point anyway, right? Because it can all change, was that like Mesa ended the month, which by the way is also it's a good month in respects that it didn't have 5 payrolls, but we were profitable, right? We were profitable. It was the most profit we've ever had in a month before. Um, and it was just one of those reminders that like your feelings and the results usually are not in alignment. It's usually when you're feeling good is when your business is not making much profit because you're actually not doing the things required for the thing to grow. And so it's one of those reframes that took me many, many years to understand is that when I'm in the most pain, when I'm in the most uncomfortability, when I wake up in the middle of the night just like sweating and I'm like trying to solve a problem so much, like I have this problem that I'm continuing to try to solve over days and days and days. Um, that's usually a leading indicator that I'm growing. And when I grow, the business follows behind it. Now, at what speed it follows behind it, it depends. It depends. But it's always a signal that when you're in pain, there's progress shortly behind that. Now, shortly could mean years in some cases, right? But it also could mean days and weeks, depending on how many other skills that you've acquired along the way. And that's the truth behind it is that like business takes so many skills that like you might solve one skill and then all of a sudden you still have deficits in so many other areas that like you're not actually going to see progress by solving one problem. But as you continue to solve these problems over and over again, then as you create new problems, then once you do solve that problem, then you have so many skills behind it that you actually can see the you can see the outcome. Like as you get the skill, the outcome, you're able to achieve it faster when you've already stacked skills behind it. So this is a concept that I actually heard Alex talk about one time is like skill stacking. And so like the more skills you stack, the more valuable you become. The more valuable you become, more money comes behind. Like money always follows value. And so if we can understand, if we understand seasons of business, and understand that there's certain seasons of learning, and once you have gone through learning, then we can then eventually get to the stage of earning. The problem that we have in business is that most people, they need to make money today because they use this as a job. And so, which is fine. Like everyone has their different, like everyone is in their different situations and they're solving different problems. However, when you can make business into a game where you don't need to make money today, you can make a lot of money in the future. And so depending on where you're at, like for example, like if you're brand new to business, like you got to make money today. Like you got to eat. And so you're just going to grow slower. And that's okay because like it's that because you have to solve this problem and you have to slowly solve this other problem. Now, if this is not your first business, and let's say you have some cash in the bank, um, and you don't need to make money today, you can grow much faster because you can invest that money that you would otherwise need to pay yourself back into marketing for clients and cleaners, back into hiring office staff to actually be the ones who are actually making the phone calls, doing the hiring, doing the interviewing. And so then you're able to grow something really, really fast. Um, and so that's why it's important to, I believe it's super important for someone to be able to get to a savings goal where they're like, I'm not living paycheck to paycheck anymore. If I don't make money this week, I'm good. If I don't make money this month, I'm good. If I don't make money this year, I'm good. And so those might be different milestones for you to get to, but like if you can get to a place where you don't need to make another single dollar for this year because you have that much money in savings, like you can make different decisions. And so that money, like that number is going to be different for every single person on here. Um, but that should be the goal. If you're working hard right now and you're living paycheck to paycheck, the first goal is like get yourself so you have the opportunity or you have the ability that if you don't work today, like everything is still covered for the rest of this month. And then once you get your monthly expenses taken care of, then make it for the next quarter, the next 3 months, and then 6 months, and then a year. Because when you're able to like give yourself a little financial security, it allows you to make different decisions of where you put money into your business. And this business specifically, with the home cleaning business, is very simple. It's very simple. And inside the podcast with Cody, like that was like the main theme of his podcast is like how do you take a business from 6 figures a year to 7 figures a year? Like that, like I asked Cody, like, what is the problem we're trying to solve? Like that's like anytime I do anything, I gotta know like what is the problem we're trying to solve? Like what does the avatar want? What is like what like at the like what does the ideal scene look like for you? And that's what he said. I was like, okay, cool. So all my answers were geared toward that one solving that one problem is how does somebody who's got a business that's doing 6 figures a year, 100,000, 200, 300, 400, $500,000 a year. How do we take that business to $1 million a year? And so you guys haven't had an opportunity to go listen to that podcast. It's in the chat. Go grab it. Um, yeah. And I think it'll be helpful for you guys. And so that being said, you'll notice that there is a missing person here today, but no need to file a report. Katie is on a plane. Katie's on a plane to Ireland. She's on a plane to Ireland. She'll be gone. So don't text her. School her, guys. She's on vacation. You guys can do whatever you guys freaking want to do. I don't really care. But the chance of you getting a hold of her are very low. She is in a totally different time zone. So if you guys are curious, Pacific Standard Time, she's 8 hours ahead of us. So if you guys are in Eastern Standard Time, which a lot of you guys are, she's 5 hours ahead of us. So like when we're going to bed, she'll be probably just waking up. But she'll be gone this week. This is I think her 5th year that she's taken a international trip. She doesn't take me with her. Like leaves me home to work, watch the kids, do all this stuff. Yeah, this is the 5th year that she's done it. And so, yeah, it's one of those things that she had a goal many, many years ago that she wanted to do. And honestly, it wasn't a goal of mine. And so while it wasn't a goal of mine, I still wanted it. I wanted her to be able to achieve her goals. So I worked hard and so that way she can continue to do what she wants to do. And she takes this trip with one of her friends every single year. And it's awesome because like she gets what she wants. She wants to go on a trip and I get to continue to work. And so it's cool because I think that this took us a long time to understand is that like while we have the same like direction that we're headed. Like we have different goals along the way, and so I think my job is to just ensure that like I know what her goals are, so that way I can help her reach her goals. And I think that's like what I think that's one of the greatest forms of love is just finding out what somebody's goals are and then helping them hit their goals, even if it doesn't like affect you at all, right? And so I think that's what Katie's taught me is that like I literally have zero desire to travel. I have zero desire to leave, get on a plane for 9 hours. Her plane, she's got a 2 hour trip to Dallas and then a 9 hour trip to Ireland. I'm like, it's just like, I do not envy you one little bit. Like zero, zero envy. Um, but she likes it and she wants it. And so like, I want her to win. And um, so I do whatever is required in order for her to want to win. And yeah, she taught me she's probably the first person who taught me that is like, how do I help somebody hit their goals when it's nothing that I would ever want to do? I would never have like, I never want to do it. And it also like, technically like it takes money out of my bank account. It takes attention. Like I don't get her for now, like 10 days. And so like, it literally just like makes my life worse, but I gotta be supportive of her. And like that's something that, yeah, 5 years, it took me 5 years um, to continue to get better at. But as I get better and better at it, it makes it really easy. It makes it like it makes it easier to help somebody else when like they get the benefit, but it doesn't actually decrease anything for me. I'm like, oh yeah, of course. Like, and that's why like I feel like I can help people because like outside of the time that it takes, like you're not taking money in my bank account, you're not taking away my best asset away, and so I think like that's why I think it's the value of like losing something that's really close to you for a period of time is that the more comfortable you get at it, the more that you can reframe it, then it becomes really valuable with everybody else in your life. So so yeah. So anyway, all that being said, Katie is not here today, so it's just me. I guess Elia is here too. So all right, guys. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and dive into this vision sheet, and we're going to talk about what happened in Mesa 5-star cleaning last week. All right. Oops, didn't like it. Didn't like it that time. We'll see if it likes it the second time. Okay, cool. Cool. Okay. All right. So this is the end of the month of April, the beginning of May. So this is projected monthly revenue for May. And so 50,300. This number is actually kind of scary. I shared this with Elia right before we got on this call, but like last month, we actually started the month out at 66,000. Now we ended at 68,000, which wasn't amazing. But this month, we're actually starting out at 50,000, which means that we actually have two problems. Last month, we just had a cleaner problem. We had clients on the schedule, ready to rock and roll. This month, we have both a cleaner problem and a client problem. So May is going to be a test. May is going to be like a real test because we have two compounding problems. You have the two problems in this business: clients and cleaners. So we'll see how May turns out. Um, Last 3 days revenue 66,000. Again, you can see this has been on a slow trajectory down. Next 30 days revenue 48,000, the lowest it has been. So these leading indicators are very scary. Trailing 12 months revenue 600,000. So we finally hit a $600,000 cleaning business, which is it is what it is. It's not the goal, but a milestone along the way. Um, finished finished April with $66,000 in ZenMade. We actually collect a little bit more inside QuickBooks, but we finished the week out at 15.7, which yeah, 16.5 and 15.7. Those are actually decent weeks compared to the 13 and the 4 that we came from before that. So this week again will be another good test to see which direction we get this business going again. Recurring clients, yeah, we've been sitting at 167 for well over a month now. Weekly clean 73, so that's cool to see. Revenue per clean 215. Cleaners 16. Yeah, this number's a little skewed as we get to the bottom. You'll see that we actually now had to let cleaners go. So up to this point, cleaners were just quitting, and now we actually had to let some cleaners go last week. So 22 cleaners or 22 hours they worked on average, and then 302 cleaning hours is what we did last week. Um, with ZenMade, yeah, 66,000 was what we did for the month. 15.7, and then the initial clean revenue breakdown. Yeah, so like last week was our biggest. This is our big week. So we have like 1 week where we have a fat reoccurring. We have $13,700 of reoccurring, and look at our initial clean revenue, 2,000. So yeah, so we just had our biggest recurring or week was last week, and we weren't able to capitalize it with any new cleans because we just didn't have any cleaners. QuickBooks, again, we collected 68,000. Um, Tyler asked a question inside the group. He just wanted to know the COGS, and so I shared it on this post. So if you guys are inside the paid group, I just shared the COGS on there as well, and we were able to. We actually, the reason why our profit was actually pretty good is because um, we hadn't been paying a ton of Google review um, tips and bonuses. When you cycle through the new cleaners, not like most cleaners are getting opportunity to get to their Google review bonuses, or even getting Google reviews at all. So it's taken our Google reviews really haven't grown that much in the last month, but it also, the benefit of that has been that our COGS have gone way down because we're not paying out these extra bonuses. So I think there's always two sides. Like anytime you're looking at something, like you just have to understand that there's always a dichotomy in whatever you're talking about. Like there is nothing that is just good. Like everything that is good also has a potential downside or a downside that just hasn't happened yet. And so getting lots of reviews is great. And the downside of it is that if you're incentivizing the reviews, you're going to pay a lot of money in bonuses and incentives, which are going to bring your COGS down. You're like, I'm not getting any good reviews. It's like, okay, cool. But now you're not paying any of that money out in bonuses and tips. And so now your profits go up. And so it's why nothing is good or bad. You just got to understand where you're at, what season you're in, and just understanding, um, yeah, what is the target? What is the target in this very moment? And this is back to what I talked about earlier. Is like most people don't want to invest the money into getting a lot of Google reviews because it costs money. In 2024, we spent 20 grand, like legit money, out of my bank account. I gave the cleaners 20 grand to incentivize them to get Google reviews. We also gave 10% off to all of our clients, which I didn't even track that number, but it's going to be something. It's something. And so that was our investment into now. Like we have over 400 reviews, like more than almost any business that has been in the same valley for over 20 years. And so like we come in as the market leader in less than a year with more reviews than anybody. Like I'm going to pay for that all day long because now for the next 20 years, if I never get another Google review, I still have more reviews than 99% of other cleaning businesses here. And so that's why the more that you can treat your business like an investment, and you can have that investor mentality, the higher probability that you can win. You can just set yourself apart. Um, Discounts. So we didn't give away many discounts last week. Looks like we had a correction clean, and then we had 10% discounts, which are going to be Google reviews. And then we had a couple homepage vouchers, and then we had a quick fill, $25 quick fill voucher. We sent out one text message. Looks like we sent it out to just occasional clients last week. That's where, I was like Nancy Pfeiffer. I've heard that name before. So that's probably where these people came from. These were occasional clients who we gave an offer to fill a couple spots last week that we had. And then our external marketing spent money on Google LSA 293 and Facebook we spent 994. And so what you'll notice is that while we don't have a ton of availability for cleaner or for new spots, like last week we had one spot unfilled. Right, that's not very good. You can't grow when you only have one spot left. But I want you guys to notice, this is something I talked about earlier, is I'm still spending $1,000 a week. And the reason is that like I believe that this was going to open up. And when it does open up, then all these leads that we're getting today, we can actually send these text messages to, and to be able to fill these spots up. And so while we're not converting a ton of these leads right now, it's still building up our marketing list that when we do finally have cleaners to be able to fulfill these cleans, then we can fill their schedules quickly. And so like this is me investing into this company and just saying like I believe in you, and I'm going to continue to spend $1,000 a week when I can't even put anybody on there. I can't put a single clean on there. And so again, this is another extreme example of like I'm building an asset, right? Like I don't need to make money from this business today. I want to make money for a very long time, and so that's why we continue to spend money, even when we have no availability. Now, in your business, I wouldn't recommend making that same decision because like I have a different goal with this business than you have with your business right now. So like if you have no spots open, I would probably pull my ad spend back. But the thing I would never do is I would never turn it off completely. I would never turn it off completely. Like there's just something about momentum that you don't want to kill all progress. And so in the 4.5 years that I've been running Facebook ads for our first location, not this location, but our first location, does anyone want to take a guess on how many times I've turned the ads off? It's an easy answer. Nobody wants to play today. No one wants to chat. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. I have never turned them off. Never. Right now in Bozeman, Elijah sent me a message that we have no spots available for like 2.5 weeks or 3 weeks. Ads are still going. They're still going. Like it's almost like an insurance policy. That's what I see marketing as. It's just an insurance policy that I'll always be able to fill cleaner schedules. Right? We got 39 leads from Facebook last week, one from Messenger, 21 missed calls, 8 Google local services, 13 homepage leads, 8 incoming call leads, 0 referrals. So we got 90 leads last week at $14 a lead. So not too bad. As you guys saw earlier, we only have one spot unfilled this week, 40, but I don't know if that's even correct. We had to let a couple cleaners go. Keziah and Elia and BJ made 156 calls. That's not correct. D62. I was wondering. Yeah, 301 calls, so a little bit better. Also, you guys will see there's a new name on here. So BJ, if you guys had ever watched Elias Road to 300K call, you guys would have saw his name on there. He was the assistant general manager in Bozeman, and he is now the assistant general manager in Mesa. And so he was actually down here. I think it was last week. Was it just last week? I think he was just down here last week. And yeah, so he got to meet the team, and he actually worked from our house here, and yeah, I got him into Mesa. And so again, while the companies they're similar, there's like there's so many differences between both Bozeman and Mesa, and yeah, so it's actually a cool experience to be able to solve problems in different companies, because when you just are in one company, when you're just in one business, like you only think that like these are the problems in your business, and then all of a sudden you start to go in other people's businesses, you realize that oh, they have the same problems, and they also have some different problems that like actually I don't have that problem in my business. I'm really grateful I don't have that problem in my business. And so you just get more perspective. And I think ultimately that's one of the reasons that I can help you guys out, is because like I do help a lot of people. I do have a lot of perspectives. I have a lot more perspective than most people, because I see a lot more businesses than most people. That's all. And specifically when I say businesses, I mean cleaning businesses, right? And so like I can see all the similar problems, and I can also see some of the unique problems that people have. Um, and yeah, and so like ultimately, like you become more valuable when you have more perspective. And so that's where you guys will see BJ's name on here. And we made 301 phone calls altogether. We answered 43 calls. We missed 40 calls. Oh man, I see what's going on here. So this just didn't get updated. So we had 17 quotes scheduled, 9 showed, 34 quotes performed, and 21 quotes booked. Exciting. And this number is not correct either. $6,907, um, which is cool. So yeah, how much did we spend? We spent $1,288 and we made $6,900 and booked initial cleans last week. So that number is pretty exciting. These look like they're correct though. So we got four conversions at a total of $1,020. So again, overall decent numbers, um, considering that we didn't have a ton of spots to fill. Client fulfillment, yeah, look at this, 7 new client cleans this week. I don't know if we've ever been below 10 in a since the birth of this business, because it's still a young business. It's only 60 weeks old. So I don't think we've ever had less than 10 new cleans in a week. But we had 66 reoccurrings, which is actually pretty cool to see. And that's again why you see that we had $13,000 of reoccurring. 73 weekly cleans, um, one correction clean, 167 recurring clients, 130 occasional clients. So this is another reason why our that number is probably growing is because we're actually getting more occasional clients. So while the highest priority is recurring clients, those occasional clients, guys, don't sleep on those guys. So just because somebody doesn't want to sign up as a recurring client, like don't sleep on them. Continue to send offers. Somebody asked a question inside the paid group today. They said when an occasional client, when they actually book a clean, what do you put them in the pipeline? You keep them in the occasional clients until they become a recurring client. Like you just continue to send offers to that list. Like that is one of the best lists that you can send offers to is the occasional clients because they're already proven buyers. They just don't necessarily want to be on a recurring schedule. They want a little bit more freedom, a little bit more autonomy. So what I see in Bozeman is that this number is like over 200, and that's again another reason why that company, yeah, it consistently does over $100,000 a month is because it has a good recurring, but it also has a uh, really good list of occasional clients. And so those those two combined will yeah, it'll increase your profits because these are all people who you've already paid for marketing for these guys. So if you can just continue to like resell these cleans over and over again, you can make a lot of profit that way. We converted 57% of the new cleans last week, which is really good. And then this actually is three. I just updated today, but we have 472 Google reviews. So, and so some of you guys did, do any of you guys remember who Michael Hall is? Anybody in here? Some of you guys OGs, maybe? Some of the OGs? Yeah, so Michael Hall was like I believe he was one of the first 5 people who came at the Decade a Day. And he actually lives here in Arizona. And anyway, he didn't end up pursuing the cleaning business for much longer than like 4 or 5 months. But I saw a review come in yesterday. It was on Sunday, and said Michael Hall. I was like, is this the Michael Hall? And I couldn't zoom in, and then Katie was like, take a screenshot and you can zoom in. So I took a screenshot and I zoomed in. I'm like, that's freaking Michael Hall. And so we ended up cleaning Michael Hall's house apparently last week, and he wrote us a review. And then as you guys can see down here, so I guess we've called him Michael Hole, but it's Michael Hall, and he ended up signing up as a recurring client. So anyway, for all you guys who remember who Michael Hall is, yeah, it was cool. So speaking of recurring clients, Michael Hall is one of those, but we ended up losing one, two, three, four, five recurring clients, and 903 was we lost and we gained 1,020, so we pretty much broke even, right? And I just had another vision meeting this morning with Jessica Lucas, and they had a very similar breakdown for the canceled recurring clients. They like gained like 8 of them, and they lost like 5 or 6, and um, they netted like $200. And like this one, I think we netted, $100. And I'm like, welcome to business. It's $100 at a time, $100 at a time, $100 at a time. Like it's tough. It's tough. Like there's times where it's tough, and there's times when it just flows. And so like these are the tough times is what makes you appreciate when it flows. Like you try to make it flow for as long as possible. And one of the biggest things that I see inside our group specifically is that people will grow really fast, and then all of a sudden they hit the resistance. They feel all the feelings. They start getting told from the clients and the cleaners that, like by their actions, like when cleaners leave and clients leave, they're like, I'm not good enough. And they're like, I think I should change everything. And the reality is, you just need to do more of what you already have been doing. Like, you just need to maybe spend more money on marketing. You do more phone calls. You need to convert more leads. You need to spend more money on cleaners. You need to do more interviews. You need to onboard more people. You need to hire more people so that you can onboard more people. You got to quit saying no to everybody who isn't perfect. Because the reality is, like, you don't know. How many guys have hired people who you thought were amazing and they didn't make it past the first week? I promise you, you've not hired more people that would have been amazing. And they didn't even make it to the first day because of you. And so just understanding, like, your judgment is bad. And you should embrace it, not be embarrassed by it. Because you haven't hired 1,000 people yet. I haven't even hired 1,000 people yet. Like, hire more people. And even then, after you hire more people, I believe, I'll show you like where I'm at right now. Like, I'm like, I actually don't know. So like, what I prefer is just to like let you prove it to me. Like, as long as you check the 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 minimum qualifications, like full time, you have a car, like those are the two big ones. You don't have a felony. As long as you meet those ones, even if I'm like, I don't know. So yes, because ultimately they're going to show you. You can give them an opportunity to show you as long as you're willing to like cut them fast too. Like when it's not working, be like, okay, this is not working. And then here's what I thought the schedule. This number is pretty skewed. It looks like we lost $3,600, but one of it was a $2,100 clean. And I believe that this actually misunderstanding. I remember because I selling this one and it must have canceled the same day. So like I think it was supposed to be like a next day clean, same day next day clean. But anyway, that number kind of skews everything. But we did have a few others that dropped off last week. We did charge one cancellation fee. So all right, cleaner acquisition. Um, yeah, we spent $172 on Indeed last week. We got 39 applicants. We did 14 phone interviews. We did 9 Zoom interviews. We performed 7, and we only hired 1. And so you guys can see our pipeline here. We got a fat pipeline. Um, so you can see that Courtney, I believe, actually graduated last week, so she's actually doing pretty good. Um, oh man, this is tough. I just met some of these people today. Heidi is actually doing pretty good. And then everybody else, I do not know. Kelsey didn't show up to the team meeting today, so I'm sure that's not a good sign. Yeah. Elizabeth Valencia, I think she actually is already in. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, guys. I'm not that familiar with everybody in the pipeline, but I know we had 5 people who got onboarded on last Friday. So we have 5 people who are in training this week again. Last week we had, I think, 10 people in training. This week we had 5 people. And so we got to keep coming because you guys can see over here, cleaners leaving. We let Drew go. Actually, it doesn't even show him on here, but we actually let Levy go as well. They actually cleaned our house last week and they did a terrible job. And so they got let go. Ashley, she's been with us for a while. Couldn't couldn't show up. Chelsea was in her first week of training. We just let her go. Emma, you guys, if you guys have been on this call for a while, you guys actually saw Emma's name inside the office staff before. She actually was somebody who we brought into the office. And yeah, we thought, yeah, we put her in an office position to continue to grow, and she did the opposite. She stopped showing up. She became unreliable, and we ended up taking her out of the office, and now we had to let her go. So, and then Raina was in her first week of training as well. So, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So again, back to the math. We brought on 10 last week, and we lost 6. So we netted 4. But I think this is yeah, this is the work and the volume that it takes in order to continue to grow something. Um, Yeah. And so right now, I wish, oh yeah, it doesn't show on the sheet, but like Alyssa and Sierra and Sadie, they um and Josie, like everybody else has been with us less than 2 weeks. So we have four people that have been with us for longer than 12 weeks, and then everybody else is brand spanking new, brand spanking new. Because Emma is now she's red, she gone. So yeah, it's kind of scary, really. Like there's not a lot of consistency because you don't really know. You don't really know what's going to happen. But yeah, other than that, our top cleaners they work good hours. Um, some of these trainees worked a ton, and then yeah, and then you can see some of the call out issues. So no, Sadie's not red. I have to put that in wrong. Sadie's not red. Emma's red. Wrong blue here. Cool. Yeah, it's kind of scary. It's kind of scary. So I'll come back to this in a second. I'll tell you guys my thought process out loud here. Correction cleans. Looks like we had two correction cleans, Josie and Courtney and Michaela. And then cleaner 101s. Yeah, Drew, I'm not sure if this is all accurate because I know we had quite a few more 101s, but these are the ones that got reported. Was one with Drew. But yeah, so Drew and Levy, they were actually on their second week. So they were on their test clean. So Marie asked, how long were they with us? They were doing our test clean. They were doing our house. And yeah, they just didn't do they just didn't take direction. Um, and I think there was other factors that played into that decision, but because I just let them go. So um, yeah, so I think this is the part that I see. I think one of the things that like how important that this clearance acquisition is, but also like how time consuming it is. Like to get all these people in here, like takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work, a lot of effort, a lot of attention. And you know what also takes a lot of effort and attention? Sales, filling the cleaner schedules. And so what I kind of come to realize is that like um, when we first started Mesa, Kate and I were doing everything. And then eventually when we brought Kazaya into the office and we actually brought another cleaner to the office, Megan, um, they were doing sales, cleaner support, and Katie and I continued to do recruiting. And what we actually did is we actually took over recruiting from Bozeman as well. So at one point, Katie and I were doing the recruiting for both Mesa and Bozeman last year. And the whole intention was that like I just saw how much time it takes for recruiting. And like if we can just give the attention back to the people in the office so that they can focus on high skill, high value things, which is fill in the cleaner schedules. I was like, I bet they can just grow faster. And when I looked at the data, like both businesses actually grew when Katie and I were both doing the recruiting. I was like, weird, right? But and so that's kind of what I'm thinking. How to help Mesas because like we probably gotta hire five people every single week for a while because not again who knows how many of these people are going to work out and but we also have to fill cleaner schedules now too because we're starting the month out with $16,000 less than we started out last month because we just haven't been selling. We haven't been there's not an overflow of selling that we've been able to keep up with. And so um, yeah, so that's my thought process now is actually just to have somebody who's focused on recruiting to be able to give Kazaya and BJ the opportunity to just fill the cleaner schedules and be able to confront the cleaners on standards that are not met quicker so they can either grow up to be on the team or we can grow them out to get them off the team. And the only way you can do that quickly is when you have five people coming behind them. And as many as you guys like again like I coach most of you guys on here. Is like it's hard to bring on 5 people a week. Like it's very hard. Like the amount of like you have to do 10 Zoom interviews to bring on 5 people a week, which means you have to do 20 phone interviews a week. Like it's a lot of work. And I'm like, I don't again with the skill set of the current staff. I'm like, I don't think anyone has that skill set yet to be able to do both. And and so that's what we're talking about as far as um, yeah, I mean, and that's like all the there's so many other little things outside of just filling cleaner schedules and clients that or and cleaners like that also like take up time and attention. But recruiting is the big piece. And so I've always had this thought, like I've always had this feeling that like recruiting is super important. However, it's not high skill. It's not high skill. And that's the difference is that like you actually can take somebody who doesn't have a ton of skill and you can put them in the recruiting role. And even if they're like okay, it's still good enough because the offer, if you think about this, guys, here's the offer difference between a client and a cleaner. Talking to a client on the phone, give me money. They're like, no. Cleaner, I'll give you money. They're like, yes. Therein lies the difference. And so you don't have to be as good at recruiting as you do at sales because simply the offer difference. Giving somebody money versus asking people for money, much different. And ultimately, what we're really going to decide on is how they perform in the field anyway. So as long as we can teach the person doing recruiting to like get rid of the people who don't have cars, people who can't work full time, people who have felonies, like if we can just get rid of those people, and then we give the other people a chance, we give them opportunity by seeing if they can show up to onboarding, seeing if they can show up to their first clean, seeing if they can show up to all 5 days of their first clean of their first week. Like in my experience, most people can't. And I think we just let them go, or we just continue to let them go through the process because number one, we're not paying attention to them. I think that's the biggest thing. I really think that's wise because we don't have the attention for them is because guess what? We're still focused on getting the next round of people coming in. And we got to focus on getting the next round of clients that are coming in too. And so my big picture, like here's how I see this working out, guys. Like is the reason why like I want to get more locations is because I eventually see specialists. So everyone wants specialists right now, except for like nobody's business is big enough to have a specialist. Like everyone wants just a salesperson. They want just a recruiter. They want just a HR person, whatever it is. Like those are big business things. And so I think the desire for it is correct, but it just can't be executed until there's enough revenue to be able to pay for a specialist. Um, but I think that's the ultimate goal that I see is to be able to have a business. Yeah, probably about $5 million. So probably about $5 million a year is when I see that you can actually have like just specialists, and then you have um, and then you just have operators for each location, who like their main job is to love on the cleaners, also hold them accountable. So how I say love on the cleaners, it also means hold them accountable to the standards. So when they're not showing up, you call them out. When they do showing up, you call them out. But you're giving them attention because you have the attention to give them, right? And just making sure that their schedules are full. And so that person will be they'll have all the skills, but they'll primarily be the ones who are the the accountability person for the cleaners and to ensure that the cleaner schedules get full. So I think they'll always have some sort of sales role, but I think that if we can eliminate the recruiting aspect of it and just giving people who are like here today, I think that's a scalable model. That's something that most people can do. And then you can have just a recruiter who's recruiting for 5 locations. Like that's a full-time job. You can have one person who's recruiting for 5 locations or $5 million. Like you got to have um, and you got to have enough growth in order for that to happen, 100%. And then you can have probably 2 salespeople, like 2 full-time salespeople, maybe 3 for 5 locations. And then you have each has its own operator. You actually will save yourself money, ironically enough. You'll have better people, but you actually will save money because of the power of being able to be bigger. And there's also problems with getting bigger too. But those are the pros. Those are the pros. I won't tell you guys the cons because I want you guys to get upset. Like, I don't want to. That's why I don't want to grow a $5 million company. No. Don't worry about it. Like, just grow $1 million company first. But yeah, so that's what I see as what the solution is to this is like having somebody focus on recruiting because we're going to continue to recruit, and it'll also help Bozeman. Bozeman also has a recruiting issue as well. We don't have enough cleaners, so if we just have someone who's like whose job it is to recruit, um, I've seen it work before. So we'll see if it can. We'll see if somebody else can do it and make it work. That's the next skill set. Is once you've done it, now you want somebody else to do it. And so that's where we're at right now is like, I want to have somebody else do it and see if they can get it to work as well. So cool. So yeah, guys, that's what happened last week in Mesa and last month in Mesa. And yeah, so while last month it appeared to be really good, also the way the calendar set up, it made it easier to be profitable. But in May, as you guys have already experienced, there's 5 payrolls in May, which makes it tougher to be profitable. And so one of the things I was telling Jessica and Lucas as we started talking about profit share, because I think that's a something that's been coming up a lot with people who now have office people and they want to incentivize them, they want to pay them, is first thing, like you got to have enough revenue for there to be any profit. This is why I don't recommend for most people to have profit because like you don't have enough revenue, which means that there's not enough profit there to begin with. So about 70,000, like in my experience with my businesses and from the people who I coach who let me see their P&Ls, 70,000 is really the first place or the first revenue point where I see that there's enough money to pay the owner, pay the office people, and there have to be a profit left over that is like that's incentivizing. That's not like 2 cents, right? Yes, you get profit share and you get $5. It's like that's not exciting, right? So about 70,000. That's the mark as the first mark. So like anybody who wants to do profit share, like get to 70. That's your first marker. And again, and by the way, and the profits are still like they're okay. Like they're not game changing. But if you can get it to where you're doing 80, 90, $100,000 a month, like you actually can share some real profits, like some life changing profits. Um, so when it comes to profit share, um, another thing that we had to learn is that you actually don't want to do profit share by the month. And this is exactly why. And this is why you've seen that we do it over the quarter, is because like every month, like some months end, and all of a sudden with 4 payrolls, and some months end with 5 payrolls. But the reason why we do it on quarters is that it accounts for that. And so if you guys do profit share, my recommendation is also not to do it by the month because again, this month's going to look good, but I looked at the books for May and like we're negative 15,000 to start the month basically. Because you had a payroll, you have 2 days of getting paid, and then you have, but you paid for the last 5 days, and so you got to catch up from that. Um, but if you see that April looked good, but May looks like crap, combine them together and they're okay. And so that's why when you're doing when looking at data, you really want to look at it over longer time horizons. And profit is a good example of we talk about of like how good did I do. That's why looking over quarters is good. But even if you just look at your data of sales and marketing, just like the longer data you can look over, the better representation of your business because you're gonna have good weeks, really good weeks, and you might have shitty weeks. Actually, you're gonna have shitty weeks. And the goal is just to have more better weeks than shitty weeks. But like you need to account for the shitty weeks too. This is really good. Katie told me inside her leadership call that she has every Thursday, she asked people to do a time study. And I don't remember who this person was, so it doesn't matter. But they're like, something happened in their life to where it was different, and so that they didn't want to do the time study. And I was like, no, that's the time to do the time study. Like those are the times to do it. It's like everyone wants to wait till your ideal conditions, but there's no such thing. Like you just do it. Actually, if you do it under worse conditions, then it'll just like show you like how important it is for me not to have to do this thing that you feel like is like not ideal conditions. Um, and that's just a lot of what business is it's accounting for all the shitty days, like really accounting for shitty days. And it's so here's another good example. Um, when somebody is on a diet, and they track their food 6 out of 7 days. But on the seventh day, they're like, no, I've tracked my food 6 out of 7 days. I don't even track the seventh day. And on the seventh day, uh, I mean, who knows how much they ate because they didn't track it. Although, like, they know how much because they definitely ate more than they did. And then their data, it shows that it's good. They're like, I don't know. All of a sudden, they see their data over the course of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks. And they're like, I'm not sure why I'm not losing weight. It's like you failed to track the one day, and that one day you're eating double or triple or quadruple or who knows how much more than you did before. You have to account for the worst days. It's more important to account for the worst days than anything. And so that's why coaching, whether it be business, whether it be health, whether it be finances, it's difficult because the thing that you have to attack is the thing that you want to avoid. It's where you suck at. It's where you're the worst at. It's like it's like when you binge and you overeat one day, you need to step on the scale the next day. It's more important you do it that day than the day where you did really, really good. And you need to track it. And same thing in your business. Like it's just as important to track the days where you don't do anything. Yes, like when you do your reports at the end of the day and you're like, I made 3 phone calls, and you're like, I don't feel very good about that. Like those are the most important days to track. It's the shit days. And your goal, truthfully, the goal is just to have less shit days. But everyone has shit days. But if you just have the courage and the confidence to accept the shit days as you are a flawed human like the rest of us, and that makes you normal, then you can actually start working on just making progress. Because it's not not having good days that's holding you back. It's just that you have so many shit days. Like we should have less shit days. So building a million dollar cleaning business is very difficult. If you ever had it in your head that it was easy, that's my fault. If you've been following me, yeah, I didn't set a proper expectation, but it is one of the most difficult things you'll ever do. It will challenge you to every level, to every degree. It will force you to commit. You Jessica Lucas and I were talking about this today. She's like, it's amazing how many things I have to say no to in order for us to continue to grow this business. And when you're so focused on the goal, saying no to things doesn't even it seems it's less challenging because just like you're not saying no to them or to this, you're just saying yes to your goals. Like that's why like having clarity on where you're going and why you're going to go there is so important because you're going to have to say no to a lot of things. You have to say no to a lot of the things you that you might even identify as like I am this type of thing, and you're going to have to unidentify as that type of thing, as that type of person, as that type of value, that type of attribute. You have to let it go because that thing that value no longer gets you to your goal, and that's why this game is hard. I'm just a small town person. I don't have an education. I don't have this, right? Like you have to let that go. I'm not smart. I don't know math. I'm not good at sales. Like all these identifiers that you have, if you're committed to your goal, you're gonna have to grow. And growing means that all those things that you identify as, instead of saying like, I'm not this thing, it's like, if I want to get to my goal, I must get good at sales. I must get at hearing no. I must become a leader. I must understand data. I must understand technology, right? And it's easy for you guys to look at somebody else and you can see their flaws super easy. It's like, well, I'm not good at this. I'm not good at this. You're like, well, you're gonna have to be. But like if you just account for all the things that you said you're not good at right now, and then just use that as like what you need to focus on, like what you need to close the gap on, your business would grow because you would grow. Right? So yeah, shit days, lots of shit days. Shit days is what helps you learn the most. All right, guys. Well, if you guys are having a shit day, I hope your day is less shitty now. Hopefully, you guys What do you guys got something from this? I think the biggest thing is just that the path to progress is filled with pain. It's filled with shit days, and just accepting those things as like it's part of the game. And it's just a different signal. Like it's a reframe. It's a reframe of like this is what it takes, and keep in it, keep in it, because like the worst thing you can do is stop making progress because most of those shit days, if you actually look at your data, like almost everybody in here tracks the data. Like if you look at your data, like your data is doing good, like you're making progress. And so that's where being able to differentiate your feelings from the data is like, okay, how do I just continue to do this again, despite how I'm feeling? And it's a game. It's a game. So appreciate you guys for showing up today. Thanks you guys for making this the shitty feelings feel better. And super grateful. A lot of you guys were making posts inside the group. You guys shared your April 2024 numbers versus April 2025, and like just go back and look at that, guys. Like when you're having a shit day, go back and look at your numbers. Like go like that's the reason why I said for you guys to do this because I go back and do it too. I'm like, would I trade where I was last year for right now? Hell no. And so I need to remind myself that. So I was like, maybe I'll share this with you guys too. Right. So just remember, like even when you're feeling you have a shit day, like go back to last year. Go back to your data sheet. Go back to your P&L. Go back to your bank account. Right. And you're like, damn, I'm glad I am where I am today. Right. And by the way, if you can't say that, then you need to do something different. You need to do different behaviors. If you want to grow, if you want to grow, that's fine. But like if you want to grow, like if you can't look back a year from now and be like, I'm a better person, I have more skill sets, I'm more valuable, then like then do the things that you need to do in order for you to be able to confidently say yes to that. But if you guys are in this group, there's a low probability that that's the case. So sometimes you just need to reframe and just understand that it takes time. Okay, we'll leave you guys with this one more thing. One more thing. So on that podcast with Cody, um, again, the whole podcast was like how to go from 6 figures to 7 figures a year. And I told Cody, I was like, dude, it took me 9 years to go from 6 figures to 7 figures. It took me 9 years. And so I think sometimes an expectation is that like you guys have only known me for 2 or 3 years, which is the years that I have had $1 million businesses. So like just keep that in mind. Like, but that's also why I can help you is because I've also done it. But recognize that it took me 9 years to get there. So once you have the skill, you can do it quicker and it makes more sense, but it takes time. And I promise you, it's not going to take you 9 years, guys. Like it really won't. You can get there much faster, but it's definitely going to take years. It's going to take years. And so having proper expectations will also not make you feel like you're behind. And you're like Kristen the other day in the group, she's like, did $30,000. Last year she did 3,000, and this year she did 30. I'm like, holy shit, that's like 10 times more, right? And I was like, dude, 30,000 a month. Like I went back and looked at my gym business, and I think I bet there was probably only like probably out of the 7 years I think I had that business. I bet I could go back and count how many months I actually hit 30,000 a month. Like, like it was less. It was less. I hit it less than I was under it. Let's put it that way. So like you guys are doing great, right? And also like you're also in a group where like 30,000 is like just start. So it's also good. So just like take the good and the bad, because the good part is that like you're in a group where like 30,000 is just getting started, or maybe that's the bad part, right? To your ego. The good part is like 30,000 is 10 times more than you were last year. But you're also in a group where like there's people in here who do 120,000 a month, $100,000 a month. Like one of the best things, like one of the greatest gifts you guys can ever give yourself is to be the dumbest one in the room. And so when I hear that saying, there's a moment that I'll share with you guys. Sorry guys, I'm talking a little bit right now, but there's a moment where this was in December of 2020, and we were in Austin, Texas, and we were fortunate enough to have Christmas Eve dinner with Alex and Layla and Trevor and Desiree. It was just the six of us at Christmas Eve dinner, and we're talking, and then after dinner, it was just Trevor and I and Alex, and we were talking, and as much as that sounds cool to most people, like it was very uncomfortable. Like those guys are very intelligent, they're very smart. We're talking about business, we're talking about money. Like these guys are making 100 times more money than I'm making. And like I'm not even talking. I'm just listening. I'm just sitting in the room. It's very uncomfortable. And as much as like we were friends, like just I was like trying to add value in a place where like I had no value to add. And that was the that was like the moment that I was just like, man, this sucks. But then in 2021, we got invited back to Trevor's house again, and we went to Christmas there with him again, and like it was awkward again. Just like they were just me and Trevor, which is like I don't know, sometimes arguably tougher because Trevor is just probably one of the most intelligent people, at least that I've ever met. And then in 2022, we went back to Christmas again, and like that was the year that I was like, I could actually talk to him. Like I could actually like I wasn't afraid. I didn't have insecurities in the conversation. I feel like I actually could talk without like questioning everything I said. And then yeah, and now today, like I can talk to Trevor, um, and without like having any sort of insecurities. So it took a couple years. And so just like understand that like you guys are in a room where you probably feel insecure. You're like, there's people in here doing lots more money than you do. Um, and they probably know a lot more than you do, and you're the lucky one. Promise you. As long as you can put your ego aside, as long as you can just shut up and listen and try to evaluate where you can, like you will not regret it in the next 3, 4, 5 years. Like you look back on it like, damn, I got lucky. And that's the goal. Is like you want to put yourself in rooms where you're the small fish. It feels good to be the big fish, but you want to be the small fish. You'll learn so much more that way. So cool, guys. All right, getting off now. Appreciate you guys. Happy Monday. Yeah, if you guys are inside the coaching program, sales coaching call is tomorrow. So it's not today. That's why I was able to run over a little bit today because there's no sales coaching call today. The sales coaching call is tomorrow. And if you guys are not part of the paid group, the next free call is on Wednesday. The next free call is on Wednesday. Jessica and Lucas will be documenting their journey. They started in this community. They were doing about 13,000 a month, and last month they did $88,000. And I don't know if they're going to share their new sheet, but they're showing their profit on there. And let's just say they're making more profit in a month than they did in revenue when they first started. So it's it, it can be life changing if you stick it out long enough. So you could profit more than you make on in revenue in a month, and they don't even work in like they don't even operate the business. They don't do sales. They don't do hiring. So yeah. All right, guys. Happy Monday to you guys. See you guys on either Tuesday or Wednesday. Um, Bye.